I also wanted to give a shout out to Timothy Siregar. He's another YouTuber that's in my Reactors League group, and he does reactions of Game of Thrones as well. I have a link to his channel in the description below. So go check him out and say hello. Say Koricon sent me. And yeah, I think he's got some good stuff over there. So go check it out. Hey everybody, Koricon Nala here, and this is going to be my recap and review discussion thing for Game of Thrones Season 7, Episode 3, The Queen's Justice. I'm sorry I'm late on these. You know, we started the second channel and I've had a lot of stuff going on, so I got behind, but I'm trying to catch up. Because tomorrow is episode 5, so I need to do episodes 3 and 4 tonight and catch up. So I don't even think anybody's going to watch these, but I wanted to get them up just in case someone watched them later. But episode 3, The Queen's Justice, we started out with Jon Snow arriving at Dragonstone, and how epic is that? Like, I've been wanting to see that forever, to see Jon Snow and Daenerys meet. So when Jon Snow gets to the beach, he ends up meeting Tyrion Lannister, and they have a funny little back and forth real quick, and they say hello. It's nice that they haven't seen each other for a long time, and they're heading up towards the castle, walking up those staircases, and one of the dragons flies right overhead. And the look on Jon's face when he sees the dragon, he's just like, oh! And it was like, that's a very genuine look of somebody that just saw a dragon for the first time. And Tyrion helped him up, and he's like, you get used to it. Not really. Oh, that was awesome, seeing the dragons. And then when Jon finally meets Daenerys, and she's on her throne, she looks all regal, and they start announcing her, and she's got like 5 names: the Mother of Dragons and the Freer of Slaves and all this stuff. And they get to Jon Snow and Davos. He's like, this is Jon Snow, King of the North. Like, that's it. Like, he didn't really know what else to say. I thought that was really funny. That made me giggle. That, and Jon's like, whatever. But you can tell that he's kind of intimidated, but he's very strong in his convictions. And they have this like nice chess game back and forth where they talk to each other about she wants him to bend a knee and he doesn't want to bend the knee. And the great thing about this whole sequence is that you can see both points of view. Like, you can understand what they're thinking, and you can really take either side, or like me, you can take both sides. I'm like, she's got valid points and he's got valid points. And then we meet up with Theon, who gets saved by some of the crew pulled up on the ship, and that's when I find out that it wasn't his sister that was hung from the boat, the front of the boat in the episode 2. She was captured. So I was wrong about that, and I'm sorry, but Theon gets saved, and there's like, where's your sister? She's been captured. I tried to save her. He's like, if you did, you'd be dead. So they don't really have any respect for him whatsoever. And then Euron arrives at King's Landing and has his little parade down the streets. Everybody's cheering for him. And he ends up delivering Ellaria and her daughter to Cersei. And then he keeps Yara for himself. But I thought he was going to try and deliver Tyrion. It makes sense that he would deliver Ellaria. I wasn't really thinking about that when he ended up saying, I'm going to go get you a present. Because she ended up killing Cersei's daughter. And Cersei agrees to marry Euron, give him what it is that he wants. And then she takes Ellaria and her daughter into the dungeon, chains them up to the wall, gets the same poison that killed her daughter, then kisses Ellaria's daughter and tells Ellaria, you're going to watch your daughter die, and then you're going to watch her rot until her face caves in. And if you don't eat, we're going to force food in you. And I want the torches changed every couple of hours so she doesn't miss a minute of it. And I was like, damn, that is harsh. That is super harsh. I was like, that is so messed up. I don't know why I get surprised by really messed up stuff. I've been watching this show for 7 seasons. I should get used to it by now, but damn, that was cold. Uh, yeah, I mean, and the look on the actress, I keep forgetting her name, but the look on Ilaria's face when she's being told all this, that was some damn good acting. Like, she was terrified and sad and like every negative emotion all wrapped into one. It was a crazy sequence, that's for sure. And then I guess, torturing people and killing daughters and getting revenge gets her hot and horny because she went over to Jamie and got some, but then someone knocks on the door and Jamie's trying to hide and she's like, I'm the queen, I can do whatever I want. So she's not hiding the fact that she's with Jamie anymore. Of course, now that came out and she's going to marry Euron, I mean, I don't know, it's going to get a little complicated for them, I guess. And then Cersei meets up with Tycho Nestros and from the bankers. And I was like, hey, it's Sherlock's brother. I really like that guy from Sherlock. If you've seen that show, it's a great show. But yeah, that's Sherlock's brother. And they had an awesome meeting about, paying money back so that they would get support. Cersei's trying to build her armies and get more support. Then we go back to Tyrion, Jon, and Daenerys, who Tyrion is kind of like the middle ground. Like, he's helping Jon and Daenerys kind of understand each other. So when they talk to each other, they may kind of get why the other person thinks that way. But Tyrion is really the one that's translating that for each other. Like, he's like, come on, I mean, think about this. And then Tyrion convinces Daenerys to allow Jon to mine the dragon glass, kind of get in favor with him, so he would be more willing to bend the knee later on. But really just give a little and get a little. Give a little and get a little. It makes a lot of sense, right? And then we have that scene with Jon and Daenerys outside, and she tells him that she's going to let him mine the dragon glass. And you can tell they're really starting to understand each other and get a little bit more comfortable with each other. And maybe a little bit of spark of love going on in there, which we see a little bit more later on. Then we end up going over to Sansa, and she's proving to be an intelligent leader. Like, she's falling into that role really well since Jon's been gone. She's walking around telling people we need food, we need to prepare for winter, how much food do we need to store? And she walks by the armor, the smiths are making the armor, and she's like, shouldn't that armor have leather on it? It's going to get cold, we need leather. And the guy's like, oh, yeah, we do. So she knows a lot of what's going on, which is what a leader is supposed to do. Like, they're supposed to know all the ins and outs of everything that's going on. And she's proving that she does. She's going to be a force to reckon with for sure. Bran arrives at Winterfell. He's finally back. It's the farthest south he's been for, 5 seasons now? And meets up with Sansa. We get a great reunite. But he's gone. Like, ever since he became the Three-Eyed Raven, his mind is elsewhere. And he tells Sansa about the Three-Eyed Raven and the visions that he's having. And you can see that she's having a hard time really accepting that. And from her point of view, he seems, not the same at all. But he's going to be important. I think he's going to be really important later on. And then Samwell cured Jorah. Yeah. Now, I had said in episode 2 that Jorah is staying around because I'm sure someone there is going to cure him. He's hoping for a cure. It's his last hope. And Samwell just basically cut it all off and put ointment on. So he ended up curing Jorah. Now he gets to go back and fulfill his promise to Daenerys. That should be an interesting meetup. I wonder if she'll accept him back. But he's going to be important too. And it's awesome to see that Samwell cured him. And then when Jorah shakes his hand, you could kind of see with Jorah, like, I haven't touched another human in so long. And you could feel his gratitude that he's able to touch another human being again. It was touching. Get it? Touching? Archmaester Ebros meets up with Samwell and basically tells him, you did this and this and this, and you went against what we had told you to do, and you're not allowed to do this, but good job. I can't believe you pulled it off. How did you do that? And Sam's response is like, I just read the instructions and did what it said. So, he's got a lot of skills in there. He obviously knew how to pull it off, or did a good job of pulling it off. And he gets rewarded with having to copy a bunch of books. I'm one of those rare people that really likes the war meetings in movies and shows. I like hearing about the strategy and seeing the maps and knowing what it is that they're doing, so that when we get to it, I have a visual reference of what's going on. And Tyrion is like explaining about how it's impenetrable. You can't really it's so hard, and they show like them going the ladders above the wall. And he says, but my father gave me the lowest job possible to look over the construction of the sewers. And since I got hookers and alcohol and illegal stuff, I built in passageways for all that stuff to come in for me. And so he told him about these passageways, and then we have all of the Unsullen go in through those passageways and take it out from the inside. But there's not very many people there, which is weird. They're like, what happened? I thought there would be a lot more. And we end the episode with a whoa moment when Jaime meets up with Olenna and Tyrell, and basically says, Cersei wanted me to cut off your head or torture you, and I convinced her not to do that, and pours the poison in her wine. And she's like, am I going to feel anything? He's like, no. And she just guzzles it down like right away. And she says, I bet your son, Joffrey, had gone through a lot of pain, seeing the red in his face as his eyeballs. And she's like explaining how he died. She's like, that wasn't my intention. And then Jaime's like, what? She's like, I want you to tell Cersei. I want her to know who killed her son. And then Jaime walks out, and I was like, damn. There was like 2 of those damn moments in this episode. It was crazy. But I did not want it to end. When the credits came up, I was like, oh no, give me more. So they're supposed to do that though, right? All in all, it was a good episode. I liked seeing Jon and Daenerys meet. Really, they crammed a lot of stuff into this episode. Like, they touched on just about everything they needed to. Very well, very tight. There wasn't any really slow moments. It just moved from information to information all the way through the episode. It's one of those that you can watch multiple times just to glean a little bit out of each one. But there were a lot that just pushed the story forward, gave it a huge nudge. So let me know what you guys think. What did you think of episode 3? What did you pick up that I missed? What are your thoughts on it? Let's get a discussion going on down there. And if you would like to chat with us about it, we've got a Discord server, and we have a room for Game of Thrones. If you want to go in there and talk about Game of Thrones, we'll just hang out. We'll talk about theories and what happened and blah, blah, blah. So go ahead and check that out. All of my social medias are in the description below, and check out my main channel as well. Turn on your notification bells on both. If you're on Vidme, upvote this, give me a follow and share it around. If you're on YouTube, like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends. And I will see you on the next video.